Hello everybody, my name is Wesleigh Harrison and I am a collage artist here based in San Diego. I do analog collage, which basically means that I cut pieces of paper, images out of magazines and other pieces of printed material, and I combine them into unique pieces of art. So in the midst of all of the COVID-19 isolation and quarantine that many people are experiencing, most people are experiencing, I would like to share my love of collage with you all so that you guys can see how you could become creative in your home time if you're really bored, if you're trying to figure out what you could possibly do while you're out away from school, or just a way to get involved with your family during this time. So today I will be showing you guys the basics of how to begin a collage session by cutting out images in magazines, what materials you need, and kind of how I go throughout the process. Some collected magazines of my own. You can use any kind of magazines that you have around the house, particularly advantageous magazines have really awesome images in them. So like Sunset magazine has a lot of really great images of gardens and things like that, like sculptures, home decor stuff, really some cool material to pull from in magazines like that. I love flowers, so something that I love to look at are like nature magazines or the San Diego Homes and Gardens magazines. I really love flowers, so this is what I go to most often for inspiration when creating a collage piece. But it's really whatever you are drawn to, whatever image that you see on the page that attracts you, pull it out and cut it up for merging with your unique piece of collage art. So the next thing that I really like, if you don't have magazines, are calendars. Calendars are a really awesome way to find good quality images to put into your art. So this is a calendar that a coworker gave me. I told her that I loved the flowers and really wanted this calendar if she was willing to part with it at the end of her work year. And it surprisingly came on my desk one day and I was just so excited. So I will be using a lot of the images in this. Other things are nice, like breathtaking views. This is another one that has some really awesome images in it. But it's really whatever sparks your fancy and whatever inspires you to be creative. The next thing that we will be needing are some poster board that we will be gluing everything onto. So you guys can cut up some old cardboard boxes to use for this. You could use some poster paper if you have any laying around. Cardstock is also really good for the back side of your collage, so you have a stiff surface to glue things onto. And you don't need a whole lot. You can use stick glue if you have any of that at home. Some other things you might use are Elmer's glue, another like crafting glue if you have that around. You'll definitely need a pair of scissors. So I have a nice pair of scissors here that I got at Walmart, and some tape might be helpful for any images that might accidentally get ripped, or if you have an image on a page in a magazine that is split on two pages in the like middle crease area, you can tape them together after you've pulled them out of the magazine. So something else that's really nice to have while you are creating in your home is a trash bin to hold any paper scraps that you have left over from your clippings. And that way you have an easier time cleaning up when you're all finished. So I have my little trash can here holding all of my debris from my creative process. So now that we have all of our materials ready, I'm going to sit down and start cutting up images out of my magazines. You can do the same by gathering those materials we just went over in your own house, clearing a space on the table so that you have a nice surface to work on. I recommend having a light source so that you don't strain your eyes while you're working. That allows you to not get fatigued and want to stop your creative process. So let's get into it. So I wanted to quickly share some of the things that I like to do when I'm actively searching for images. So you'll come across an image at some point that you really like, right? And a lot of times it'll be on the full page, or it will be split between two pages. So something like this is I'm attracted to, and I'm going to pull it out of the magazine. So what I do for this, so that I don't rip up so much of the image and I have like the full image, is I will crease the magazine flat. I will push it flat so that that inseam is as flat as possible. Then what I will do is I'll grab the page and I will tear it. I'll pull up this side of the magazine a little bit, and I'm going to tear out the magazine a little at a time till it pulls out. And with that technique, you're not getting huge rips in the paper. You have a fairly clean line that you didn't need to use like an X-Acto knife for to cut out of the magazine. So I do this for most magazines, and if I'm in a real big hurry, or if I'm really excited and I'm just like finding all these great images, I'll just rip out a page at a time instead of taking the time to cut it out of the magazine, because that can be really fatiguing. So I'll just go through and I'll pull out images, and I'll have a collection on the table, and then by the time I'm done going through all my magazines, I'll have a lot of images to pick from to put together. So here is an example of an image that was on 2 pages, and I wanted to have both sides of the image and tape them together. So this was in a magazine that I just was going through, and I love the flowers. Love the flowers. This is totally my jam, and I'm excited to use these. However, they were split on 2 pages, so what I did was, it was all in this one magazine, Sunset, and I literally ripped the seam of the magazine apart to salvage the image. So if you're looking at this, Sunset's adhered with like kind of a glue adhesive, so it's not a very thick binding. So, oh my God, that's gorgeous. I'm gonna be taking that image too. But anyway, it's super easy. Once I have the page that I want, I can just hold it down firmly and pull it out really gently. Just like that. So then I have that half, and then I'm gonna pull out the other half of this image to use. Just like that. Beautiful. So if you have an image like this, you can pull it out just like that by ripping the magazine in half. You could also use a knife to cut through the binding of the magazine to salvage an image. All right, so remember the image that we just pulled out of the magazine that was on 2 pages? So now is a good time to take your tape. If you're really interested in using that image, you can tape them together on the back side of the image that you're not going to be looking at to put them together so that they're one whole image. So I'm going to do this for the flowers that I just pulled out of the magazine right here. So I'm just laying them on the table in front of me, and I have my tape right here. So I'm going to take a piece of tape and tape them together. So I'm going to be taping the back side of the image. So what I do first is I fit them together so that they look seamless, as if I hadn't ripped it out of the magazine. Then I'm going to put this piece of tape on the back side of one of the images, so it's half taped like that. So half of the tape is on one side and half of tape will be on the other. And what I do is, since I had that really nice seamless matching before, I'm going to redo that and gently place the other image over top of it so that they hold together and I can tape the rest of it no problem. So yeah, with one piece of tape, I've already taped it together. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to tape the back side of it so that it all is one seamless piece. So I'll just do up and down the entire thing. Something that I like to do when I'm not videoing my process is play music. So if you have some nice lo-fi hip hop or jazz or something you like to play while you create art, whatever you like, that's a nice way to get into your creative flow space. Perfect. And there's your image. So now I'm gonna cut this out to use in my collage. So the next phase in my creative process here is, now that I have a ton of images that I am attracted to, that I really like, I'm going to start playing around with laying everything together. And something that's really important when you're thinking about collage is the layering aspect of it. So collage can be kind of like Photoshop, or the very early version of Photoshop, so to speak. So once you have images cut out, it really acts as like a layering game with the different images that you have, and getting creative with how you layer images with color and texture and things like that. So I'm just gonna do a quick little time-lapse video of my laying out process, and you guys can see the final product afterwards. All right, so here is what I came up with the images that I found in magazines. I did have to pull from a stash of kind of background images that I had laying around, because I like to make frameable art. So something that's very important to me when I create a piece is to have a background of some kind. It doesn't have to be a solid color, but something that really helps the image stand out and kind of contribute to the story of the image. So here is my compilation for the day. I have a flower that I pulled out of the calendar that I used at the beginning of the video. I found this really cool birdie here that I pulled out as well, that's just sitting on this girl's face. And this is just a picture of a model that I found in a magazine. It was probably like a jewelry or fragrance ad of some kind. And then the last little piece down here is a stem that I got off of an image of a basil plant. So I just cut out the stem of the basil plant and gave her kind of this very surrealist flower look. So something else that I wanted to point out with this piece is how I layered it. So in total, this entire piece is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 images. So not very many, but it looks really awesome and complex without having too many pieces layered. You can layer as many pieces as you want. I like to be aware of the colors that I'm putting together. I really love color, so I'm not afraid to put together really bright, colorful images. But I'm gonna quickly assemble this so you can see how I layered it all together. So here we have the background piece, which is just this yellow piece of paper. Then I added the flower onto the piece of paper with the girl's head kind of in the middle of it. So it's kind of like she's got a floral crown or some really fabulous hair. And then I just tucked the bird image right up behind her face in kind of the corner of her head. And then finally, to touch it all together, put it all together, I have the stem here. So I just slide that in and voila. That's how I layered it. That's how you can approach your layering process if you like. But yeah, it's really a playing and layering process. So you can layer them however you like. What will be important is when you're gluing down your images to remember the order of how you layered it, so that way it comes out exactly as you planned it out. All right, so I'm in the final process of my collage for today. I'm going to take my glue stick and start gluing down my piece. So, cue the time lapse. All right, so my piece is all glued together. Here is how it turned out. I'm really pleased with it. Something that is a little challenging when you're working with collage is how the papers layer and how it kind of ripples underneath. Some of that is kind of unavoidable. I'm hoping that once this dries fully, I'll be able to like stack some books on it and have it flatten out a little bit. Or once I glue it down onto my poster board, finally, when I'm ready to frame it, I will be able to deal with some of these kind of folds and wrinkles are happening. But that's part of the process. So if yours looks like this, don't fret. It comes with the process. So you'll get used to it. You can flatten it out. You can roll it out with like a rolling pin or something else like that. I'm just being wary because it's still wet from the glue right now, and I don't want to pull up any of the paper that's still sticky. So I'm just waiting until it dries, and then I will be figuring out how I want to frame this piece. All right, so that concludes our collage session for today. Thank you everybody who decided to watch this video and give collage making a try. It's really something you can do in your own home. Something I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is if you are short of magazines or calendars and things like that, do a shout out on social media. If your neighbors are hoarding any magazines or calendars that they haven't touched in years, maybe they have them stored in their garage somewhere and they'd be willing to let you use them. I am constantly crowdsourcing for materials, so just be cautious of the times and being close and socializing with other people. I wanted to put this out so that you guys can all have something to do that's creative at home while we are all in isolation. So have a beautiful day and happy collage making.